listening to the Dynamic Women podcast. Each week, you'll be inspired by our global community of women. They'll share with you tools and stories to help you be dynamic in every area of life. Here's your host, award-winning coach, and the CEO and founder of Dynamic Women, Diane Ralston.
Hello, moms. Are you worried about kids having too much screen time? Well, today I'm going to talk with an expert about the 5 ways to make kids' screen time actually healthy and productive. And we're also going to talk about why teaching computer science to our future generation is important. Hello, lovely dynamic women, and welcome to the Dynamic Women podcast. I am your host, Diane Ralston, and today I have the lovely Simer joining us here. And she is going to take us through exactly what I said, the 5 ways to make kids' screen time healthy and productive. Welcome, Simer.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you for giving me a voice here that I can tell the people and the moms especially how to make it productive, because it is challenging, especially during these times, because they're sitting in front of the screens most of the time.
Yes, and what I love is that you're coming in as a mom, as a business owner, as an expert in providing opportunities for kids to have screen time in a productive and healthy way. So let me give everyone a little bit of a background about you. So you were born in India and you moved to North America for further studies in 2005. You have an undergrad in computer science and an MBA. And following your MBA, Simer worked with Fortune 100 companies, but wasn't happy as just working wasn't enough. I totally get it. Good job for continuing to move on. So she had a deeper purpose. Growing up in India in the 80s and 90s, knowledge of computer science, especially for girls, was not as important or valuable than a doctor or engineer. Defying all norms, she got a degree in computer science and moved to North America to follow her dream of teaching kids, especially girls, computer science. I want to give you a clap. Like, I love it. I love it. It's so right. There's not enough people focusing on women in the sciences, in computer sciences, in engineering and such. And so the fact that you're taking this on for girls and you're a girl is amazing.
Yes.
So
yep. And I have a 3-year-old daughter. So there you go.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, let's dive in. First of all, I think people are maybe wondering, well, what are you doing then teaching kids? So why don't you tell us a little bit about the business, and then we can kind of dive into how we can make videos, be on computers, a family affair. We're going to talk about coding. We're going to talk about how video games are actually helpful. So we're going to talk about all that stuff, but let's just figure out, like, what is it that you do?
So I run and operate a company called Level Up Kids here in the Lower Mainland. And normally we teach kids coding in a fun way. And us moms, we're aware of, if we have kids over the age of 6 or 7, we know they're playing like Roblox and Minecraft and Super Mario kind of games, but they're just playing it. They're not being innovators. They're not being creators. So my purpose with Level Up is to teach them how to make their own video games by giving them a purpose and giving them, giving them an opportunity to, you know what, let's not just play, let's create something that other people can look up to us and say, wow, you guys did a good job. So my main motive in doing this coding in a fun way is just not to promote just playing video games or watching YouTube videos. It's way bigger.
Diving right in.
Yep.
Yeah. And so you do that in after school programs, summer camps, March break camps, that sort of thing?
Yes. So we do it in after school programs, spring break camps, summer camps, and pro D-Day camps. And sometimes, kids want to just have parties, birthday parties. So we do game creating birthday parties as well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's so
cool.
So, go ahead.
It's awesome. It's awesome because when kids see that, we can create something at a birthday party, and then they go home and they tell their parents, hey, you know what, we created a game. It's like phenomenal because they see the cause and the effect when they write the code. Yeah,
it's important that kids understand how what they love happens. So if a child loves different types of food, then teach them how to cook it And if a child loves plants, then it's around teach them how to grow it. And so the same thing here, if a kid loves video games, teach them how to make them. Yeah, that's awesome. So let's get down to what parents are probably wondering, what maybe they feel guilty about is screen time. So how do you make screen time actually like productive? How do you do that?
So yeah, so normally and this is research too, when a child is too much absorbed on like an iPad or a tablet or just watching videos or any time of screen time, our brain releases a hormone called dopamine. And that is rewarding to the kids in a way. So when you take the tablets away or the computers away or screens away from the kids, we have seen as well that kids become agitated. Then why are you taking it away? But it's, and then in 2017, University of Montreal also did a research about it. And the shooter style games the kids are playing these days, for example, Fortnite, they actually can damage the hippocampus area of the brain. And they can cause it to lose cells. So too much screen time can affect the development of a child's brain. And these are the forming years of a child that we can encourage them. Hey, you know what? Let's not watch too much video. Let's not be a passive consumer. Let's just be a creator and innovate and make games or innovate things in a way that will help you in the future as well. So there are 5 ways we can we as parents can say, you know what, hey kids, let's have a healthy and productive screen times. Number 1 is limit screen time. Like even I teach coding. I always tell my students as well, you have an hour of coding in front of the screen. Now turn off the computers and you're off the computers for 15 minutes. No screen time. Your eyes need a break. Your brain needs a break. Let's just do something else. Let's just play charades or let's just play Uno or something like old school table games kind of things, or that takes you off of there. So even the American Academy of Pediatrics said that, you know what, kids should not have more than 2 hours of screen time, but that is for kids 6 and under. So if there are moms who have babies under 18 months of age, no screen time at all. The only screen time they're actually getting is if they're video chatting with a parent or a loved one who's not close to them or not living with them. 18 to 24 months old kids can watch videos for like 30 minutes. And then 22 to 5 years old, not more than an hour a day. But all 3 of them, only when there's an adult present. And then 6 and up, there is no specific time limit. There's no research that says they need to watch only this much videos, but I always tell the parents of the kids that place consistent limits on the time they spent on the computers or the tablets or anything, and make sure it doesn't take away from their sleep, from the physical activity, and also from like readings and stuff, and also take note if there's any behavioral changes. So number 1 is limit your screen time.
Can I ask a question about you said that it can damage the hippocampus?
Hippocampus. Yep.
And is that just the shooter games or all screen time?
Just the shooter games.
Okay. And when that's damaged, how does that affect a child's life? Do you know that? I'm not sure.
Because it damages the cells in the brains, and when they're playing just the shooter games, they actually start thinking like that. That, you know what, we can do something like that. So they don't have the capability, once those cells are damaged, to think in a proper, reasonable manner. And it doesn't happen overnight. It happens over a period of time.
Interesting. I've never, other than like Duck Hunt, that, old Nintendo that I played as a kid, I've never played any of those type of shooter games. But I have been watching different shows that were very suspenseful or very threatening to the characters. And so in turning it off, I was feeling kind of that nervousness, that feeling the threat, almost like I heard a sound and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to protect myself. Like it carried on. And so I can totally see how kids in the developmental stage of their brains can be so affected by not just viewing, but by participating. So I guess the same is true for the positive side.
Exactly. So not to like say, yeah, and it's just, I'm not saying like those games are not, they shouldn't be playing the games, because if you stop your child, their friends are playing the games. And just to name is Fortnite. Like, but when kids come to our learning center, they're like, can we play Fortnite? Not at all. It's off limits. You're not allowed. So, but yeah, there are some tips that, you know, moms can consider as a family. Make screen time off limits for certain days and hours. So for example, Saturday and Sunday's family time, there's no screen during family time. At dinner table, there is no screen. I have seen kids who are like 4 or 5 years old, they will not eat their dinner unless they have their favorite show on a phone in front of them. They'd rather stay hungry than, you know, eat if they don't have their show. So like, make bedroom screen free. We have, like me personally, we've taken out the TVs from our bedrooms. There's no TV in the bedrooms. And like I said, no screen time at the dinner table, and use screen as a reward. They finished a quiz, they finished a homework. Okay, you do this homework, you'll get like 20 minutes of screen time or 30 minutes of screen time. So they know, for example, we say, okay, you'll get $2 for this chore that you did. Instead of the money, we tell them, okay, you want to have screen time, you will, but only for this much if you do this.
Okay, so tip number 1 is the limiting screen time.
Yep.
Do you want to roll us through the other tips here?
Yes. Limiting screen time, make bedroom screen free is tip number 2.
Okay.
Tip number 3 is no screen time rule at the dinner table, because they need to focus on what they're eating. Only then their brain will say, okay, we've eaten this much, and you know, they'll respond accordingly. And tip number 4 is use screen time as a reward for completion of chores or quizzes or homework.
Okay. Did you say there were 5 tips?
4.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And then, yeah. So number 1 was limit screen time. Number 2 is encourage creative and educational screen time.
Oh,
so there's
that one. We missed that one. Okay.
Yeah. So number 1 is limit screen time. Limit screen time has 4 tips that I just gave out.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So, what would you say? Like, how would a parent really know if it's educational or not? Like, there's some that are obvious, like they're learning their alphabet or whatever. It's obvious that it's educational, but where do you draw the line of educational or not?
So there are 4 main categories of screen time. Number 1 is passive consumption, like just watching TV, browsing the internet, playing games on the internet. Number 2 is interactive consumption of screen time, which is playing games with their friends on the internet. Okay. Number 3 is communication, which is video chatting, social media, browsing, and you know. And number 4 is content creation. So content creation can be there. If you have an 11-year-old, maybe he wants to be a YouTuber. So he's a YouTube content creator, not a YouTuber. I say it as a YouTube content creator because he's actually creating content for something. Okay. And then like gaming, they're actually creating games and playing games. So you're actually creating content. That's how you say that this is educational. Content creation is a part of educational screen time.
No, well, what if they're just making those dance videos for TikTok?
Oh.
Because and I know we're getting kind of into the nitty gritty here.
It's all good.
This might be a thing, because I know that's like really big with, I feel so old when I sound so old when I say this. This is so big with the young ones, right? With the young kids, they're jumping on TikTok and making all these dance videos. And that's creativity in that they've got to learn the moves. That's physical as well. And then they've got to upload it and they got to do all the little techie bits of that. So does any content creation count?
In my opinion, not to say anything bad about anything, but still, I don't like TikTok. Number 1, it has its own security concerns. And it's not like, I had students in my YouTube class who wanted to do TikTok videos. And I said, no, we're not doing TikTok videos, because then you teach them the internet safety and security and everything about it, because we've seen in research as well that users of TikTok have been hacked previously. And kids being on TikTok is not a very safe place to be at, because they're very vulnerable at that age, and we don't want them to go on TikTok. So even though they're being creative, they're still being exposed to something that is not safe for them.
Okay. So what if they were creating the dance videos for YouTube?
If they're creating dance videos for YouTube, the number one reason YouTube is okay, because they need a parent's email address to access YouTube under the age of 13.
Ah.
So just creating videos is fine, but how about they learn how to edit the videos too in a proper manner?
Okay.
That is educational content creation.
Okay. And you teach how to be on YouTube.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Kids.
Do you don't teach adults as well? Because I have probably lots of clients that are like, how do I do well on YouTube? But that's fabulous. Like, you got to stick to the demographic target market that you have, and that's kids. And I'm sure there are so many parents that are like, what, you want to be an influencer on YouTube, or you want to get your message out on YouTube, or you want to be creative on YouTube? I have no freaking clue how to do that. So it's so good that you've got that covered. However, you said I'm located in the Lower Mainland, and that is of BC. For anyone who's listening from further away, BC, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do stuff online, especially with the pandemic right now? You're limited. So do you teach any of these classes online?
Yes, we teach YouTube content creation class online. We teach the Roblox game designing class online. And we also are teaching game designing with Scratch online. And right now I have kids from New Zealand and Australia as well.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
it's fun. And we just partnered up with another theater company who are teaching drama and theater to kids in the morning. And then I go in and teach YouTube to those kids in the afternoon. So then they both can merge their drama skills into YouTube.
So if you are listening and you have, this was not planned that I would say this, but, and you have a company that serves kids and you're looking for another component, and this I'm sure is a big seller for parents, because this is higher level, we could say higher level camp or after school activities, right? It's not just let's make a paper craft. This is, we're making something hardcore here and learning these skills. That's so cool. So if they're making these video games while at home, how can that be helpful? What are the advantages of actually doing game design?
So think about it as art. What does art make kids do? They make the kids more creative. So when they're actually sitting in front of the computer and they want to design a game, they have something in their mind. They're not putting it down on paper, but they're putting it up on a screen. So they have a visualization that what they need their game to look like. So it makes them creative. They're using their mind in a different way. They're not using their mind to just play it. They're using a mind to be creative. So that is number one. It makes them more creative. Number two, once they've made the game, even when we were kids, we did something right. We wanted to go and show off. Like, hey, you know what? We did this. Hey, we did this. So they go and tell their friends, hey, you know what? I did this. So it boosts up their confidence.
Oh.
So when kids come and say, hey, you know what? I did this game. Oh, I was thinking of doing that, but I've never done it. So let me just try your game. And then when the other friend says, oh my God, this is awesome. How did you do it? And then the child who made it goes into a teaching mode. So it's like a chain reaction.
Yeah, and it's super unique as well, because my kids are 5 and 8, and I hear, especially the 8-year-old with the friends in the neighborhood, I hear that I made this or I did that, and the other kid goes, well, I can do that too. And this is probably one of those things that it is one of those things that very few children have had the opportunity to be able to say they have done. So cool.
Yeah. Wow. So it boosts their confidence. And once they're making a game, it also encourages them to use math and science concepts, because they have to see, like, for example, if there's an airplane flying, they have to see what's the gravity and the velocity of it, though it's flying. So it's teaching them science. What angle is a part or a block to be placed in a game is teaching them math. So there are different concepts that kind of pull in when they're designing their own video games. So that's why we say it's teaching them STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math in a fun way. But I like to call it as not computer science, but I like to call it as computational thinking.
Computational thinking. Do you want to share more about that?
You can tell I'm just passionate about this, so I'm just throwing out words.
And that's why I bring people on here who are true experts in their industry, and yours, how you came through. And this is a movement, I'm sure, that you're creating, not just for children, but specifically for girls, so that there is a place. There was another woman that I interviewed for the Dynamic Women community, and Leah Koss, and we talked about gamification, and we ended up talking about comic books. And you could say I made a kind of a stupid comment about, well, comic books are kind of like for boys, and then she was like, no, they're not. There's a huge following for girls. And I'm like, well, it's just that you don't hear about it, you don't see it as much. Same with video games. And she's like, I love video games. So we need brilliant, passionate role models like you to lead the women. I'm not going to lead the girls in gaming. I'm not passionate about video games. And so that would be the wrong role for me, but I'm passionate about other things. And so I love, computational, tell us about that.
So computational thinking is nothing but it's type of a problem solving skill. So if you break out two words, computational is computer science, thinking is you actually think. So when you merge it together, what does computer science do? It solves a problem for something. So you're actually becoming a problem solver, and you're teaching a machine to do what a human wants it to do.
Yeah.
So I kind of like to encourage my kids, hey, you know what? You need to focus on being a problem solver than being a problem creator, not only for yourself, but for your parents, for your teachers, for everyone.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
But yeah, it changes the way kids think. Once they see it, that, we wrote this and this is what it's done. Oh my God, I never thought it could happen like that. Because most of the kids who come to us, especially for Roblox, they're just picking and choosing stuff from whatever Roblox has given them, but they're not coding their own.
Oh, okay.
So they're like, oh, I've done this. No, you haven't. Let's go in and see it. And then when they see it, oh my God, I did not know we could do this. And now they're open to a whole different, arena of things that they can do. So that's, and then, it encourages computational thinking, or the way they start thinking is also, it teaches them about interconnected parts. One thing is connected to the other, and what is the cause and effect. It helps them break the bigger problems into smaller parts and then solve them that way. And it not only helps them in computer science, but also in math, for example.
So I'm with the confidence thing, I'm seeing that this also builds their self-efficacy, their belief that they are able to do things. I often hear my kids with the silliest things, like opening a cereal box or putting their shoes on that they haven't untied. And they're like, I can't do it. And they throw it and they get mad. I would love to say back to them, you can make a video game. You can open a box of cereal. Like, I'd love to have that. And I'm sure that the children, like the parents, are seeing the difference in their kids by doing that problem solving here. They start to build that skill and start to apply it in other ways. Exactly.
And we have parents coming back and saying, because we have kids with special needs as well. And, when special needs kids come in, they are creative. They want to do things, but they don't have the tools and the right pathway to guide them through it. So when they come to us and when they go back after maybe like a week or 2 weeks, we have parents' emails coming in, oh, I have a completely different child. Like, what happened? Because now they can do things that they couldn't do. Now they're trying to analyze things before they do something. Now they're trying to think before they speak. So it's a life-changing experience when they do coding or computer science, or, you know, even something content creation in any way.
So you're almost recoding their brain.
Yes, we're recoding their brain. We're rewiring them in a way that, you know what, you can do things in a much better way than you were doing in the past. And it seems logical, and it's fun, and it's going to help you in the long run.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Now this...
I love what I do. I love what my instructors do. And yeah, kids are like, we want to come back. So it makes them come back more, because then they're learning more.
Yeah. So run us through, like, if a child was to join, like the after school program or the summer camp, what is it like, timeline, start to finish, and what are they making? Because I'm all about the ROI, return on investment here. So if I'm putting my kid in, how long are they there, and what are they doing by the end of it?
So for example, summer camps, we are running summer camps right now. So we are running virtual and in person. So in-person summer camps, they start at 9 a.m. in the morning and they end at 2. Normally they would end at 3:30, 4 o'clock, so that working parents can come and pick them up after work. And, you know, it solves that problem as well. But because now we're getting all our centers sanitized after every camp, every day, they're all getting sanitized, it's 9 to 2. But 9 a.m. they come in, they have, so Monday morning example, they come in, we give them a project. This is what you need to do. For example, if it's Roblox game programming, and I'm taking Roblox because a lot of moms I know will relate to that, because even kids as young as 6, as old as 13 are playing that game. So it's a pretty popular game, and they're just playing it. So when they come in, I stand in front of them if I'm in one of the locations, and I say, hey, you know what, this is a learning center. Once you pass through those doors, we are open to learning and not playing. So you're not installing the Roblox player. We're only working on the coding part. You can test your own games, you can test your friends' games, but that's about it. There's no other playing games. You know, first day, yes, they do get a shock that, oh my God, I thought it's going to be a playing camp and all that, but no.
They can do that at home. My kids have no trouble figuring out screen time at home. Like, I don't want to pay you to have my kids watch or play a game. I can do that at home.
Exactly. So yeah. So number one, you know, we start them with a beginner level course that they're making, for example, roadblocks or kill blocks. So for example, when a character touches something, you know, it bursts up or it dies or some, you know, those kind of things. So they're actually coding it themselves. And then they see it, oh my God, what just happened? And then they're making an entire game, but it's a blank game. So then the second day they're coming in, okay, now if I cross this and I fall down, why do I have to start from the beginning? Because my game's so big now. Then we make them start from somewhere in the middle, and we call it checkpoints. So we code those. So if you fall off, you're not going to go back to the same place. You've already passed that path. So now you just start from where you fell off, pretty much. So that's day 2. Day 3, they're actually making more. They're getting onto the difficult level, advanced level stages. So it's like beginner, intermediate, advanced, and then advanced 2 and advanced 3. So they're building so then I challenge the kids, in 5 days, you're building 3 games with these concepts in it.
Wow. So,
and then and on Fridays, we make the game public. So when they go home, they can show their parents, this is what we did.
Wow. Would it be possible for us to put in the show notes a link to one of the kids' games, or a kids' game or example? Would that be possible? I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
No, probably not, because it's in their personal Roblox accounts. So unless I,
made a fake one.
Yeah, unless I made a fake one. I have my own Roblox account. I have my own hobby that I created while I was teaching the kids, but I don't want to put that there because I don't have a Roblox account. It's just my developer account that I've done it in.
Oh, bummer. I wanted to see it.
I can show it to you, but I'm not on my work computer right now.
Okay. So you'll just have to take your word for it, how this looks, or people will just have to put their kids in and experience it themselves.
Or they can come in for a complimentary assessment and I can show them what the kids have made.
Awesome. So they can come in for a complimentary assessment or complimentary consultation and actually see what kids are doing. And if they're in New Zealand or Australia, and you just do it over Zoom. Yeah.
Yep. If they're not in the Lower Mainland, we do it over Zoom.
Okay. So you're focusing on the kids, but how can technology be an actual, like a family affair? If we're looking at changing the world one family at a time, how can technology for the whole family?
So technology, if you think about it, it's already a family affair. You're watching TV, you're sitting as a family pretty much most of the time. So that is a family affair. We are actually now encouraging parents to come in with kids for a dad and me and a mommy and me class and learn to code with the kids so that when they go home, they can create something with their kids while the kids are also having fun.
Oh.
So the way we can make it a family affair is if we get involved too. So for example, if a child has made something and then, so we go and ask questions. A lot of parents, I understand they're working, we're busy, our lives are busy, but take out that time and talk to the kid. What did you learn today at the camp? What did you learn in class today? And you will see the child just talking. We did this. And then it's up to us as parents when I go, we go in and we'd say, hey, why don't you show me? Oh my God, how did you do this? How is that? Which language is this? Which coding language are you using? That's how we make it a family affair. That's how we make it fun. And we have seen moms and dads getting more involved in that when they start asking those questions. And then the kids feel, oh, my parents are now my friends.
Yeah. And like you were saying before, it's building that confidence because they're able to say, like, I did this. And when a parent uses curiosity, and I have to remember this with my kids, even though I'm like, I know that, or that's so basic or whatever, I'm like, oh, really? Like, if you do that, it makes that happen. That's so cool. Tell me more about it. Like, I really have to go into that space. And so this is a good reminder for parents about everything, to be doing that and build the curiosity. And then, like you're saying, the child gets to be the teacher. Yes. And share with you. And that's so important. I've interviewed another woman around child-led play. You're actually adding to them being in that leader role and being able to have control over it because they're telling you. So I love that. I love that how you don't just think about come to the camp, learn this, and then go home and when you're in our space is when we care. I love how you think about more than, and you think about the idea of you're on for an hour and then you take a 15-minute break. And the 15-minute break isn't just like run around with your friends or the other kids. It's also structured in a way that encourages play. And I'm sure a lot of kids are, when they're home, they're just like, I'm going to go to video games. I don't care about board games or other human interaction games like Pictionary or something, right? Yeah. Charades, like you mentioned.
Yeah. And those games also put into play when you're having family time. Example, you're going camping, you don't have access to internet. Those are the games kids want to play. So we're already encouraging the kids when they're coming through that these are the games you can play when you don't have screens. And some kids do come in with their iPads, and they just want to be glued to their iPads. And it's difficult for me to tell the parents at times that, let's not give them iPads for free time.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes parents are like, no, they're better off with the screens. And I said, being an educator, being a parent myself, I'd rather not have this excessive screen time for them.
Yeah.
Because it's not just their eyes, not just their mind, it's also how they've started to think then.
Yeah.
Then they're pre-programmed, whenever we are free, we can get a screen and we can be done with it. That's not okay. Yeah. And then I also remind the kids when they come in, because when they're so involved in creating something, they forget to drink water. And they forget when you're in front of the screen, you need to stay hydrated. So those are also the habits that come along.
Yes, yes. So it's like using the technology in a healthy way. Oh, hey, that's what we talked about, right? So our title today is 5 ways to make kids' screen time healthy and productive. So even the stepping away from it after an hour helps them to be more productive. And you basically shared more than 5 ways. But the other piece of this is why teaching computer science to our future generation is important. So kind of last question here, why do you think coding and computer science is the future?
It's not just coding and computer science. Technology right now is everywhere. Like even in a microwaves, there is technology. We have screens and fridges. That is technology. So every walk of life is now related to technology. So like you and I talking over Zoom, I'm giving classes to Zoom to 7-year-olds. Who would have thought a 7-year-old now knows how to navigate Zoom, like share screen and access, like remote access and all that? No, that is what the importance is. This like Zoom and learning Zoom and everything would have been a 2-3 year plan for many families, many parents, many kids. But now in the current situation, it is now. So learning technology, like we don't want to be late in any way. There are going to be millions of jobs available for people who, or for kids in 2050 or 2025, to be honest, for technology field, but they're not equipped with it. So right now we're actually encouraging them, hey, this is the time. Why are you delaying it? So kids who've come to us for Roblox or Minecraft game designing camps are actually now progress to hardcore coding like JavaScript and Python.
Wow.
So it's game designing is a way to start, but it doesn't end there, and it doesn't have to end there. They can actually progress through to a harder level, to a difficult level.
But you're also appealing to what they like. If you said, hey, we're going to design that microwave screen, who wants to do that as a child, right?
Exactly.
And really, who wants to do that at all? Maybe there's someone passionate about that, but they're paid to do it, so they're happy to do it. But the key thing is here, kids will want to do what they've been exposed to. And that is the big problem I see with girls, in that we are not having them experiencing these type of what we would consider, or what we've seen in actually the economy, male roles, male dominated industries. And so we have to at least expose them to it. I'm so grateful that my older brothers played sports. Then I was exposed to sports. Then when I was older, I was like, when do I get to play soccer? I want to play soccer. And so how cool if a child is brought into this, whether they like it or not, at least they're exposed and they know what it's about. And then younger siblings can see that their older brother or sister has created a video game, and how cool. And it also helps them understand the world. Like, people actually have this for a job. Maybe the same for you, Simer, when we were growing up. You could be a doctor, you could be a nurse, you could be a police officer, you could be a teacher, these kind of traditional roles. The world, that's gone.
Oh yeah, it's gone. And it's sad for me to see, like even now in my camps, I have lesser amount of girls. And I do have a special program called Coding Girls, where it's only girls in a program taught by a female instructor, because when women, like even dynamic women lift each other up, women help each other, women kind of work good together. Yep. And that's why we introduced the Coding Girls camp. But it's sad for me to see right now, to be honest, we have 0 registrations in Coding Girls.
Wow. Okay. So I'm going to appeal to my...
Sorry, but I have girls in game designing camps, which is awesome, which is totally fabulous. Because right now, there's one girl in our Cloverdale location. She's challenging the 2 boys. I can make better games than you. And I'm like, go for it, girl. Like, you got it.
That's so awesome. So I'm gonna appeal to all of the listeners here. I'm gonna ask you, go in the show notes, grab the website, take that and share it on your social media and say, hey parents, do you have kids that want to learn about coding? You know, we can maybe even, Simer, would you write a little blurb that says, hey parents, do you have kids that you want to go to camp and learn about coding or whatever? If you take that, why don't we share that And let's do even a girls only version. Let's do a kids version or a girls version, whatever. And let's just share it out there. So even if you don't have kids yourself, I think you're probably a woman listening to this. Let's empower the women of the future. Let's help them to be able to earn the same as everyone, as all the other men. And let's help them to feel empowered and good enough to go for something like this type of role. So let's share on social media. Let's get the word out so that girls, that moms can see this opportunity.
Thank you. And I that's my heart's desire. I really want girls to see and be a part of an amazing future, not for themselves, not for their families, but for the country as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so
and
good.
I will write their blurb, because all I say is to the parents is channel their obsession. If their obsession is video games, channel it in the right direction.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. Any final thoughts you want to say, Simer, before we close
all
off?
I want to say, Diane, is thank you so much for this opportunity. This was a heart-to-heart conversation that I really wanted to have, and I really wanted to put my words across to a broader audience, and you gave me that platform. I'm so appreciative of you, and I so look forward to, serving more kids, more families, more girls, to take them to the next level.
Yes. And what I definitely knew would come through is your passion and your knowledge, but also what surprised me a little bit is just this totally holistic, research-based approach that you have to every single part of what you do. And I really, as a past educator, current educator, I really appreciate that part and hearing that. So actually, even better than sharing your website, let's share this podcast out as well, so that other parents can listen. It's important that we allow this to be an opportunity for the next generation. So please share it out. And maybe another time we'll have to talk about your interesting story about how you left your home country to come here and how that went down, and being a woman in a male-dominated industry. Like, we could have gone through so much, but I really wanted the kids to be the focus this time. So
yeah, but I would love to share that story too, because it was like I say, it was a hell of a ride, but it was a fun ride that gave me too many learning experiences.
Wow. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And to all of our listeners out there, I've already told you what you need to do to share this podcast out there. But also, if you're enjoying this podcast, why don't you subscribe so that you get to meet more amazing women like Simer who are doing great work in the world. And also, we alternate. I get an amazing dynamic woman guest, and then I speak on the next episode, teaching you tips and tricks for your business and your life, and actually all areas of life, to move you forward. So welcome if you are part of our Dynamic Women Global Club. If you are a member, we're so happy to have you. Make sure you attend one of our monthly events, which is included in your membership. And if you are not currently a member, check out the link. Push that link, click it, and go check out what we're all about and attend one of our next events as a guest. So that's me signing off. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Dynamic Women, for joining us today. Please hop on over to iTunes to subscribe and leave us a review. Who do you know who needs to hear our message? We'd love it if you'd share our channel with your friends and family. If you're ready to be more dynamic, have more balance and more success, head over to www.dynamicwomenclub.com/free gift for your Key to Success book. Stay dynamic.